Okay, so this is my spoiler review of the newest M. Night Shyamalan film, Old. This was written by M. Night Shyamalan and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and I was very excited for this film. I thought that he's had a couple recent good directing and writing bouts. That's particular in the show Servant that I cover. So I was disappointed when he kind of took away time to Servant to do this film. So I'm like, hopefully it's good. And I feel like sometimes these movie directors don't realize they're doing something so good on TV. And then they're like, oh, I want to go back to movies and make a great movie. And they hype it up. And you're like, okay, well, this is what they decided to work on now. And I hope it's as good as what they've been doing on TV, aka Servant for M. Night. But man, look, it was one of those trailers when it came out. I was like, this could either be amazing or awful. And it's going to go one of those ways. Just the way it's presented, the idea of this, the concept that they're just filming on a beach here. And I started watching this movie and very quickly you start to realize it is awful. Like, really bad. And I haven't seen a movie this bad in a long time, which makes it really disappointing because I really do like most of M. Night's work. I think he's a super talented writer and director. And it's scary that when he drops, sometimes he goes real low. Like The Happening, for example. And he can be really hit or miss, but mostly he's been consistent of late. You know, with M. Night, it's like he goes forward one step and then he goes really far back sometimes. And this is another far back situation. So when I do my reviews, especially a spoiler one, I try to just take notes on every scene, try to get the concepts of it, but this is one of those films where I couldn't even focus. I was laughing so hard during it, which is crazy because it's supposed to be a psychological thriller, and I find myself feeling like I'm watching a scary movie, parody movie, one of the scary movie films. Like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And why it's crazy is because you think you know how smart M. Night is as a director and a writer. And you're like, when he's watching this, he must be feeling what I'm feeling watching it, right? Like, there's no way. There's no way he doesn't feel that. Or even people in this cast, when they go to the premiere, like, how do you not feel that? Or even on set. I mean, first off, a thing a lot of people are going to complain about, it's tough to pull off with this concept of people getting older, which is, on paper, this film is a great idea. You know, it's based off this graphic novel, Sandcastles. And you would think you could do some really cool things with this because people are getting older. And I do actually like how they reveal a bit when the kids are getting older and it comes from someone else's perspective figuring it out before you see it. I like that. But they don't keep the consistency up with the ages. The way they decide to have them grow from like 6 to 16 in a second, but then they kind of stop till the end of the movie was inconsistent. And then really the older people, it made sense with their selves, how they were growing, the pace they're going, but then we only see a couple of them kind of grow older. I think they could have thought of so many different scenarios for scenes when they're getting older and what's happening to them, and they just do some random stuff. Like, in particular, I felt bad because I love Eliza Scanlen, right there from Sharp Objects, and she's just completely wasted here. Her pregnancy scene was like, what? Like, what was the point of that? There's little lines they throw in that make you laugh, like, you know, the boy who's now growing up that had sex with her is telling his parents, oh, I thought it was, you know, they don't get pregnant unless you do it like 10 times, not one time. And it's like these lines like that just make you like roll your eyes and laugh. But the hardest I laughed during this film, and where I was really like, okay, this is bad, and lost it, was when Eliza Scanlen's character is climbing up this rock. And she decides, you know what, I'm getting off this island. And everyone's like, no, and they're all screaming for her. And her mom's nowhere to be found. And then she just falls. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And why that also just leads to a strange storyline is with her mom, who's played by Abby Lee. She is from Lovecraft Country, which she was also great in. She's completely wasted here. And then they have her character do this like storyline that you see in a lot of like, you know, fables where she's like scared of what she's becoming. It's like the old witch storyline. I'm becoming a witch. That's the way she's reacting to her transformation. And it's like, just comes off laughable the way they do it, and her walking around in the cave. One of the few positives of this film, though, was I did think it was cool the body horror he did with her character at the end of that one shot when she kind of, you see all her limbs moving out. I thought that actually was really cool, but that's a very small positive of the whole film. Now, a character that was really just probably the worst character was this crazy doctor here who was obsessed with using a knife to want to just slash people, and he really doesn't get any payoff. None of these characters really get any payoff, but what was really odd was they had a huge horror film trope just happen right away where they kill the black guy first, which was insane to me. And it's filled with tropes, this film, like they haven't ever seen a horror film before and stuff people laugh at and don't want anymore, and they just do it. And that's why it's shocking M. Night did this, you know? But with the guy with the knife, too, it's like he was just there to shake things up, and a lot of these characters are there to just serve those kind of like plot purposes, but there's not really anyone you care about It's supposed to be, Vicky Krieps' character, the main character, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to care about. And it falls flat in that sense, because you can see they clearly try to set up the cancer storyline with her to pay off towards the end, but it gets sloppy, it gets lost, and they decide to come back at it here and there. It continues on with these laughable deaths, where they could have made such cool things with the growing older concept, and you have the character from Lost. It's funny, he's on an island again, but he just, tells his wife, I'm gonna go swim out to the other shore, and then we just see him a couple minutes later just wash up in the waves dead. We didn't even get to see how he exactly died. And then his wife eventually is like, oh, I think I have I'm going to go see my sister, I have these noodles. And then she has this seizure and dies. It's these like random deaths that don't have any weight to them. And it's just chopping off people one by one. Again, another horror trope, which is going through the list of, let's put those people on an island, eventually just kill them all and leave our main characters and try to throw in a quick theme with the parents towards their kids, which to me did not land. It's really weird because it's like, I feel like M. Night sent out to make a crazy psychological thriller, and I'm sure on paper this looked like a great concept. I think if I read even the script, maybe I'd still think it was okay. But it's just an example of something where it's like, no, it doesn't come out as you imagine, and it came out like it's unintentionally made a rip-roaring comedy here. Like, I haven't laughed that hard in a long time, and I mean, it's that bad that I feel like you could enjoy this. Like, it's not at the point where it's like it's just a boring movie, you don't want to watch it. Like, you can enjoy it and just see like what not to do in a film, and there's just moments you just start cracking up. And it's sad though, because you wanted to see an amazing thriller here, and I saw one critic on Twitter the night of just like say like, oh, it takes a little while to get off, but then it's like gets amazing and it's moving like a bat out of hell. I'm like, who are these people? Like what is he watching? It just blows my mind. But I'm giving this one a 2.9. It's the lowest score I've given anything, I think, ever. And that's like Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone show, where I gave a lot of scores close to that, but still didn't go that level. But this felt like a bad episode of Twilight Zone, any error. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, Universal buys this from M. Night, releases it. I mean, I think it's just his name at this point, right? Because there's no way they would have bought a movie like this. There's no way. Like, this is just not good. Like, this is a favorite for the Razzies, for sure. I know I'm ranting here, but I'm very passionate about how much this film just shocked me how bad it was. It's unfortunate because I really still think M. Night's super talented, but you just wonder what was going on here, man. What are you doing here? Are you pulling money out of our pockets or what? Like, what is going on? So, I don't know. I have nothing else to say, but you know what? If you like what I said here, you can subscribe, you can check out, you can become a member, you can support. That would be amazing. You get exclusive perks, and I also do celebrity interviews as well. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where you can see short versions of my reviews, and I'll see you next time.